Welcome, everyone. I am Nathan, he is Raven, and we are the Super Brothers from another mother.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Picture time. Jealousy. I'm guessing. I think that's the theme of this episode.
Yep.
Like jealousy
and communication.
Yeah, that's interesting. Again, feels like a very real thing.
Mm-hmm.
This very real thing you go through with people, and like whenever you have someone like a girlfriend or maybe other friends and you want to kind of like connect them with each other so you can all spend time together. That could sometimes not turn out very well if you're not ready to have like a different experience with your friends. With how that works, because I went through this a lot in my birthdays, because sometimes I was like, okay, what if all my friends who I like come together in one place? It was never great. Because at least I felt the it's like, because you can have things in common with someone, but it's like then the other person that comes into their lives like doesn't connect either. Like there could be situations where that happens, and then there could be situations that I also experience where your friends become very good friends, and then you kind of feel left out. Those are all very real experiences. So like very much somebody feels left out at some point if there is not good communication between everyone, and if we don't express feelings as they are coming into our heads as we are. Like I think it like I find this interesting because like again, this is very real. It feels very real to me. So it's like very much at work. I work with family, so my cousin is there. He likes to joke around. He likes to kid around, and his love language is like essentially like being savage towards you and all that roasting, right? And like I'm good with that. Like I really am. It's just not in a professional setting with my other coworkers. Where like I feel like I'm not very well respected with my other coworkers who are like female dental assistants, and they seem to like get together and be more united because they are female dental assistants, and I am the only like male one there. So it's like there's that gender barrier that gets created sometimes in certain like fields that it's not great, like, but like it's there sometimes. So it's like, so I've been trying to earn their respect, so like they know that I'm not there to take their job, that they know that I'm not there to boss them around, they know that I'm not there to do any wrong, just to essentially be helpful, like be part of the team, be a member of the team, not try to steal anyone's thunder or position. Like, because sometimes when you're a new coworker, I've only been in my job for a year, right? You feel a little bit threatened when someone new comes in, because you're like, oh, are they gonna replace me with this person, right? Like that is a valid feeling. It is a valid thing to feel. So it's like I've been trying to build up a rapport so that they don't feel that way. So they see like, hey, I'm not here to be, and since like I'm a member of the family of the people of the business, like the people that work there, like I don't want them to see me as like I'm there because I'm family, like, right? Like I don't want them to see me like that, and I don't want them to see me like I am above them because I'm part of the family and I'm gonna like rat them out or something, right? Like I don't want them to feel that way. And I've been trying to create a rapport. But like recently, like my cousin decided to like make a joke of like everything is Raymond's fault. Uh, but I'm really good at my job, and I think that's why I'm okay. I'm not great at my job, but like I mean, I'm very helpful. I'm a very helpful person when I'm at a place of business, at a place of work, where I do all the tasks and things that people don't think about, and I do all this tasks and things that people don't want to do, and I try to be very helpful in that way, where I learn the things that people don't know in that place, so that I feel useful in a way where I am adding, not taking away from someone else's thing. So I always try to find that when I'm in a job, where can I be helpful and useful? And my cousin started doing that joke and stuff like that. And yesterday, I told him, hey, we can, when everybody left, right? Like, hey, we can joke with each other. Like, I have no problem with that. And you can make fun of me all you want. Your family, like, I love you. Um, and that's fine when it's just you and me. But I don't feel comfortable and I don't feel good, um, like being spoken like that around my coworkers, because then I feel like they are gonna lose like a level of respect that I already built essentially in like this business. Like, you build certain friendships in your job, but then you're not friends with everyone there. So it's like you have to be careful, because then people can take advantage of you and treat you poorly because someone else is treating you poorly, but that person is your friend and they can do that, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
there's always this level of communication that you need to have whenever you're introducing like relationships into a one place, into like a community. If you're introducing people to that community, you need to, like, these are the things that I'm okay with, these are the things I'm not okay with, and
Boundaries, yo.
you have to create those boundaries. And I think Jake wanted to introduce his family with his girlfriend, but then he felt left out because essentially like he wasn't they were doing things that he either didn't want to do, um, or that essentially like didn't include him. They found their own interests together, but they were only doing it because they love him and they want to have that relationship because he wanted that. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I think what's important is to communicate what that will look like and how that looks like, and to be clear, hey, I want you guys to hang out, but I want to feel included. Like, I want to be there too. Like, and I think that's important. Like you said, it's like this episode is very much jealousy and communication. It's like jealousy comes up. It's something that happens, but you need to learn how to communicate through that.
Yeah, because when you have those boundaries in place, when you have those securities in place, you feel more secure about yourself, and so that way, regardless of what other people say or do, you're not able to feel insecure about it because you're already secure where you are. Where it's like, nope, I know this is where I begin, I know this is where I end, this is where they begin, this is where they end. We're not going to overstep bounds, and because I know we're not going to overstep bounds, I'm going to feel completely fine when they do their thing and I do my thing. And I think the difficulty when it comes to this sort of communication and this sort of and this sort of setting boundaries is that I think it's easy for us as humans to underestimate how complex we are, in the sense that we are so complex that with different people in different settings, the same person can act very differently. And like it's like different variables for every situation. Yep. Where it's like I myself am going to act differently in a one-on-one conversation with my friend Ray versus if I'm with my friend Ray in a group setting, or like, and vice versa, where it's like any sort of setting, especially the settings like say at a bar or at someone's home or in the comfort of my own home, or like there are a variety of different circumstances and variables that can bring out different parts of a person, like depending on who they're with and where they are and all of the above. And so it's great to have that instinct of like, oh, I like these people. I want these people that I like all to be in one room to get together and enjoy each other, because that makes me feel good. Like anyone has an instinct. Everyone has an instinct. But I think we need to understand the fact that when you bring new people together, that's creating a new experience right there. And with that new experience, that's going to bring out different parts of them that you may not have realized were there, or just kind of never really thought about before. And things may go really well or too well, like in the case of Jake here, or they might not go well at all, like you pointed out, Ray. Or so it might be one extreme or the other, or it might be somewhere in between, entirely possible. But I think we need to understand that people are complex. People will act or will be different depending on the situation. And it's not like they're completely changing themselves. At the end of the day, the me that's in a one-on-one setting versus the me that's in a group setting is still me. It's just, again, with all those different stimuli, all those different circumstances, all those different variables, it just brings out parts of me that naturally brings out part of me that I may not bring out in other situations. And so we just kind of need to keep that in mind. And we keep that in mind, it's easier to make those boundaries communicate more, being like, oh, I never realized this side of you until I saw you in this setting before. Let's talk about that, or vice versa, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it really makes me think of our tabletop group on Sundays, because it's like, I built that place because I wanted to hang out with different people I knew, and it's like I think from the group that we have now, Birch is the one that stayed from the original group that I made. But like, essentially, like, once I try to introduce more people, like I knew that when Alex was introduced, it was just Alex, me, and I believe there was Eddie at the time. It was interesting because it's like, we've created this group, and it's like with Alex, what was fascinating to me was the fact that once Birch and Alex started interacting, they pretty much became very much they're very similar in a lot of things that they believe in, where it's like when they would talk about certain things, I would feel like very much left out of the conversation. But I was like, but essentially, I'm matured enough as a person to be like, that's fine. Eventually we're gonna do the thing that we came here for, which is to play a game together. So it's fine to have a moment where we're speaking about different things that we like, and sometimes I speak things with Birch that Alex is not going to understand or get or hasn't watched before. So it's like that, there is this equality that is formed in that space where it's like there's some things that we're going to discuss that you don't know about, and you're going to feel a little bit left out, but we are aware of that. We are aware that we are leaving someone out of it for a moment, but we are going to include them again at some point, and they know that. And I think that's very it has to be clear so that nobody feels bad, like Jake here in this episode, that hey, we're still gonna hang out. It's just right now, I want to talk about this new show with this guy who's watching it as well for a second over here, and we'll include you again.
It's just a natural ebb and flow of a conversation. And I think when it comes to with people in general, depending on whoever you meet, they're going to bring something out of you that another person might not bring out of you. And you might feel the urge to bring that part out of you because you just didn't have the chance to fulfill it before. Whereas, again, I've never, say, oh, there's this show that I really like that I don't have anyone to talk about with. Oh, wait, I'm talking to this person now in this group setting that really likes to talk about this show as well. I'm going to take this chance to talk about this with them. And then I'm going to get back and talk with my other friends. And it's it's not that my other friends aren't enough for me. It's just more I want to bring out this side of me that I've not been able to bring out before, and this other person has allowed me able to do that. Okay, now that I've been able to satisfy that itch, scratch that itch, let me get back to the other group and bring out these other sides of me again. It's just that natural ebb and flow.
Exactly. And when I wanted to then I asked you to join, that essentially I was a bit nervous, but we were able to figure out the dynamic here. And Alex and Birch were nervous about adding more people as well. But you integrated very well. And I think you're very accommodating and a very accommodating person, and I feel like you communicate very well, like what you like and what you don't like, like about things. So it's like that's I really like that about you. So it's like, and like just to bring in what we've been talking about this entire show about Finn being super passionate. I'm a very passionate person. You've seen what happens when essentially a misunderstanding happens between our friends. It's
And like, that brings out side of you that I had never known before because I only know you through one-on-one conversations. So I'm like, oh
exactly.
wow, I'm seeing a side of Ray that I never saw before. And like, even just take this like another step to like give another example of this. Like when I start bringing in my friends, like Bill and Deanna, she pointed out to me, it's like, oh, I never seen you in this sort of group setting with other guys before. So like you're cracking jokes I never heard you crack jokes with, like when we were hanging out one-on-one. It's like, oh wow, Nathan, you're making more raunchy jokes than you ever made alongside me before. Usually I'm the one making the raunchy jokes. It's very funny to see you being the one making these bro jokes before, Nathan.
That was one of the things I loved about bringing you in, because I didn't know that about you until we were in the group setting. Because I was like, I was a little bit nervous about that when you joined in, because I knew that like Alex and Birch are very rowdy people, but it's like you joined in and with them. I was like, oh, okay. And here's the thing, and that gave me the space to join in as well, as a person who, like, let's be honest, like we're like Christian people. We don't get like safe.
We don't get a lot of opportunities to do those things. No.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of safe spaces to be that way. Because people have this like purity thing that I don't understand half of the time. Like, and you know me, like I'm a person. I don't like cursing. I'm not a person that likes cursing, but I am not opposed to comedy. Like I think, and comedy can ease everyone. And it's like there is, and I really like. I like raunchiness in a way where it's like it's not something I practice that much, but it's something that I like. I like to. I think it's part of life. Like you can't get rid of that. And it's silly to try to be like Christianity, make it something that it's like we are like I hear this a lot since I was a kid of like be away from, like we can't be part of the world, we can't be part of like, and that means we can't like have these relationships and do these jokes and have this stuff. I'm like, well, here's the thing. Although the Bible does say that we're not part of this world and that we should be essentially in a way holier and all that stuff, like I think people like very much misunderstand a lot of that, because it's like it's not saying to get rid of humanity. Like it's not saying to get rid of what makes us human. Like God created the world as it is, and we essentially, like there was a better version of that world, but like I do believe that there's this sense of like there's a sense of humanity that really bothers people, and it's like Christian people most of the time, where it's like I don't understand it. It's like I get what you are trying to say, but at the same time I'm like, you're taking it a step too far, in my opinion, of like going like we should be aliens basically. like and I never see that, because it's interesting, because when the Gentiles join Christianity, Paul says that they can be Gentiles, like, and they're like they don't have to be Jews. And he says like Jews can still be Jews and have their culture as Jews, and Gentiles can be Gentiles. And he literally, Paul says, here are the only things that you should not do. Don't be sexual, like don't do sexual immorality. Like that's like That's one of the things that Paul goes like follow the Lord, love others as yourself, and no sexual immoralities. You're all good. That's it. That's what you gotta do, Gentiles. So it's like, I find that very fascinating because we don't go back to that and we think like, oh, like we should act more like the Jewish people. No, like Paul was like, no, you don't have to do that. When I'm with the Greeks, I'm like a Greek. When I'm with the Gentiles, I'm like the Gentiles. Like when I'm with the Jews, I'm like the Jews. I'm like
and like he's not faking himself. Like he's not pretending to be someone he's not. He's still being him. He's just bringing out these different aspects of him.
Yeah, he was all those things. That's what he grew up around. He grew up. He was a Greek. Like he grew up around that. He like, oh, sorry, Roman, right? Roman. I don't know. One of those.
Yeah, it's all Greek to me.
Like he grew up around that. He grew up around Gentiles. He grew up around Jewish people. So it's like, it's part of who he is. Like, and he's like interacting. And Paul, the interesting the thing about Paul is that God kind of like pushes him into introducing to like Gentiles culture. He goes like, no, go live with them, go interact with them. Don't think of them as lesser. Like, and it's like, people forget we are Gentiles. We are those people. We are the Gentiles. Like, so we are, our Christianity, like our way of living should follow like Christ, of course. But Paul tells us, hey, like what you need to do is love others as yourself, and follow what Christ said, the things that Christ said, and don't do sexual immorality like you see in your culture. Like, don't do that and you'll be fine. Like, it's like, that does not mean don't connect with people, because Paul was connecting with people. Most of evangelism is connecting with people and their culture. Like, you can't, like, and again, it's also not going out there just because we're trying to evangelize or get some kind of message to people. It's just living as who we are in culture.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, this boils down to like what we're saying in the broader sense with Jake and Finn and Lady Rainicorn, where it's like, when you let other people in, and when you give other people a chance to let other people in, the same way Jake introduced his two friends to each other, it presents opportunities for you to be a better self, learn more about yourself, and doesn't force you to change yourself. It's just more learning that, oh, I'm learning more about myself that I didn't realize before, or these are ways that I can improve, or these are ways I like limits myself that I didn't realize before. The same way Jake learned about himself through this whole process of like, oh, I do have a jealous, insecure side of me. I do need to address this. And he would not realize that if he had not given Jake and Lady Rainicorn, Finn and Lady Rainicorn, a chance to let each other in. And by them letting each other in, not only has he learned how to be a better self, but they learned things as well, because like they learned they had a lot of stuff in common, and that's how they're able to become friends. And I think it's very similar to, say, Paul introducing Jewish culture to Gentile people, or Gentile culture to Jewish people, and learning how he himself is both worlds, and how Gentile people learn how to be, well, Christians in the world now, and Jewish people learn how to be Christians alongside Gentile people. So like each of these three realms, these three quote unquote individuals, are learning to be their best selves through this intercommunication with each other. And also that intercommunication with each other, there are boundaries set in place that allows us to be our best selves. Where it's like Paul, like you said with Paul, it's like, okay, you're Jewish, you're Gentiles. You don't need to pretend to be each other. Just be who you are, and just keep in mind what you've learn from each other as you're living alongside each other and intercommunicating with each other. So it's like, it's a great thing to let other people in. It's a great thing to introduce people to other people. It's just, you got to understand where your boundaries are, but you do so by learning more about yourself, by letting other people in, and vice versa.
A lot of conflict that I've seen happen a lot in churches is usually because people don't want to communicate what they're feeling, because they think that they have to be pure. Like they can't be feeling these things. So let's shut all those feelings down. Let's like keep that in, and let's like not talk to that person anymore. That's not Christian. That's not like that's. We should be able to communicate. Like there is literally the church build a whole system to communicate your grievances about someone without it being like a like big dramatic thing of like, okay, first of all, you bring whatever is bothering you, you bring it to the person. If the person doesn't agree with you about that thing that is bothering you, you say, okay, fine, I'm gonna let's get the elders involved. If the elders cannot solve the situation, okay, let's involve the congregation. Everyone, let's have this conversation and let's see what our community says about the specific issue that we're having together. That's it. It doesn't need to be a dramatic thing. Like the same way that like Finn and Jake were able to communicate, like there was drama, but at the end of the day, they were able to communicate at the end and go like, hey, it's fine.
Yeah, like, they didn't hold it against each other. They didn't take it personally. They're just like, oh yeah, you messed up, but like I still love you. I still trust you. This is not going to screw with that at all.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I think the way like he acted wasn't great, but he admitted it. It's like, hey, like I was jealous. Like I am acting jealous. Like I'm sorry, and it's like coming together as a group.
And Finn wasn't even like, oh my gosh, my brother, you betrayed me. I'm so hurt. I'm so offended. I don't know if I can live this down. I'm like, no, he's just like, nah, screw that noise. Like, let me in on the hug, bro. Like, I'm not mad at all.
Yeah, exactly. Like, see, this is the type of conversation I wanted to get on. As this show gets deeper, like, I really want to, like, I think that's exciting to me of like getting more conversations like that.
And yeah, I think by learning to face these things, and like you're able to better learn to face these feelings when you're able to let other people in. Like going back to your example of like our group and like the things we learn about each other, like through like seeing each other in group settings. Like again, talking about like the whole heated conversations I've seen you have and how heated things get. I think I mentioned before how like I'm so conflict averse. So the moment I see something get heated, like I feel these anxious feelings welling up in me. I don't know how to handle them. Like I want to shy away from them. But being like friends in this group, it's like, okay, I'm learning how to better face these feelings now. I may still not gravitate towards the like heated conversations. I still may not like these feelings, but I don't need to necessarily let these feelings take control of me by trying so hard to repress or avoid them. So, like being friends with you, I've been able to like handle conflict a bit better.
Yeah, I remember I did like I think, and that's the only like thing I think I've like confronted you about in our friendship of like where I was like, hey, I kind of felt like you were not like I understand that you felt uncomfortable in the situation, but I kind of felt like I had no one on my side in that situation, and it felt like I felt very alone in that moment, and you were like. You like apologize for it and like you explain your point of view about it. It's like, and I was like, yeah, I just like, I'm like, I get it. Like, it's fine. And we had that like little conflict resolution. I think I think that's what it is. Like, it's just being honest and about what you felt. And even if that feeling that you felt wasn't accurate, having someone validate it in a way where it's like, I understand that you felt that. That's not what I meant. That was not what I'm meaning to do. That's not what I wanted you to feel. But I understand that it was a real feeling that you felt.
The same way like Finn and Lady Ringhorn didn't want Jake to be jealous. There was never an intention of making him jealous. They were just trying to be friends for his sake. But then they see, oh, this is making you jealous. Okay, this is worth acknowledging.
Yep. Anyways, let's move on to the next episode.
Let's go.
Picture time. Come along with me.
How interesting that a lot of what we were talking about was like in this episode.
In that episode. Conflict resolution, communication, dealing with your own feelings when other people are doing stuff you don't want.
Okay, so first of all, you will never be able to like this is what I read down as we were watching. Like, you'll never be able to satisfy everyone.
Right. Like it was a sweet
Addre-
little cartoon ending that he was able to satisfy everyone, and that's nice, and that's worth, and like it's worth showing that to the kids. But at the end of the day, in a real life setting, you're not going to be able to save everyone.
Yeah, like, but that's the thing. Like in this situation, like at the end, he was like able to bring people together as a community, and that's how their problems got solved.
They work together as opposed to all of it being on Finn.
Finn on his exactly. So Finn on his own can't solve everyone's problem, but once he was like, "Hey, what if you all work together to solve each other's problems?" That's when the problems got solved. Like, I think that's like very much something that you and me, like the Overthinkers podcast, like believes in community. We believe that community can solve a lot of the issues that we are facing right now as a society. Like connection, communication, they are very important because we are living in a time where the sides, like, I mean, we've always been living in the time where humanity makes sides, and it doesn't want each side to talk to each other because it alienates the other person, and they're able to villainize easier, and they're able to essentially continue their spreading of what they believe without essentially feeling bad for the other side, without seeing the other side as humans who also have feelings and also have beliefs that are, even if they crash with yours, they still have those things. But I think this calls out something very interesting to me, which is addressing your feelings and biases, essentially, because the mountain is basically doing what I was talking about with certain people sometimes in church, of like having these feelings and biases that they have built up and trying to force other people to change so they can feel comfortable. And you see that a lot as well in outside of church nowadays, with a lot of different groups of people who are very much, they don't address their feelings and biases, and they essentially want people to change so that they feel more comfortable.
Hell, in another timeline, that could have been me. Like, again, talking about like our conflict stuff, where it's like I could have been like, "Oh, Raymond, how dare you get so caught up in this heated debate? Like, how dare you like bring up this argument and like belabor this point? It made me feel sad and anxious, and I didn't want to deal with that. So you should stop feeling your feelings, because if you stop feeling your feelings, I will feel better, and if I will feel better, that's best for everyone, obviously, because you're a bad person for having feelings." So it's like, yeah, I could have just as easily been that mountain.
Exactly, like that mountain. I love that mountain because that mountain is very much like, a lot of people think like that nowadays. It's like very much like, no, you're doing something wrong, so stop doing that because you're making me feel bad. I'm like, but it's not bad for us. We're having fun and enjoying ourselves and like just having a good time over here. You're the one with the problem. Like,
and
coming at us.
You impose your will on us, even though what we've been doing works for us because it comes naturally for us. And I also like how the roughhousers were more amenable than the mountain was. Like, you think like the roughhousers, like being the mean jocks, like they're like, even like at the start of the episode, you think, oh, they're just going to be like the callous jocks and like don't care about Finn's feelings or anyone else's feelings. But then like once they heard Finn's story, they were the most respectable, being like, oh, okay, Finn, we get this. This has something to do with your boom boom thing. Okay, we'll respect that. We'll acknowledge that. We'll try to like work with you since we understand you. But like meanwhile, at the mountain, the one that seemed to be caring most about people's feelings and health was the least amenable out of all of them, and also the one that contributed the least at the end there. Like, he did absolutely nothing. He just sat there and his vision was blocked, and people just had to tell him what he wanted to hear. Because he was so not amenable to things, he couldn't even contribute to the collective creativity to solve this problem. He just sat there and did nothing.
Exactly. You know, I don't like getting into politics that much, but like what I see in both sides is the mountain mentality of like that's what I see all the time. And it's like, guys, everybody has their own mindset, but you can't. I don't know. It's like, I mean, we've said stuff like this before. It's just like, it's that. I think that's the simplest thing to say. It's just a lot of people nowadays have that mountain mentality of like, hey, what's affecting me, I'm gonna push towards you, even if you are not feeling that, even if you're not feeling that, essentially that feeling. And I think another thing here is like some people can't be helped.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just some people that can't be helped. Like you can try, but they're not. If they don't want your help, they don't want your help.
Mm-hmm.
Like and it's like, and some people want your help, but they like when you try to suggest things, they go like, no, I just can't. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do this. It's like okay, so then I can't do anything. So
you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah, it's like I will never understand why people care so much about something someone else is doing when it doesn't affect you. Like it doesn't literally affect you. You're just choosing to be affected by something other people are not affected by.
Yeah. I think that's what happens. I think it's what happens when you have like a solitary existence when you don't let other people in, like say a mountain, where like it kind of leads to this parasocialness, where it's like you're not actually communicating and talking with people. You're just kind of quote unquote communicating with these phantoms of people inside your head and assuming their feelings without actually talking to them and like hearing their side of the story. It's just more like what you've gleaned from them from what you observed, and from that 12% of what you gleaned from a person, you make that into the 100% in your head, and now you're just kind of being haunted by these phantoms in your head and these fake conversations, and then that kind of develops into its own echo chamber that leads to a sort of victim mentality that the mountain had, where it's like, oh yeah, they're doing these bad things to me, they're assaulting to me, how dare they do this to me and like make me and subject me to this, they need to stop, they need to change, as opposed to the mountain actually realizing, oh, I should do something, I need to change, or I need to be proactive. Because like the mountain was saying the whole time, he could have like reached out to them, because clearly they didn't even realize the mountain could talk until the end there when the mountain actually spoke up.
Yeah,
like they could hear, like if the mountain had spoke up, they could have heard him at any time. He could have been like, hey guys, I really want to talk to you about this, I'm feeling this way and it's like really frustrating, can we figure something out? But like he just sat there crying and like having the sort of victim mentality of like, woe is me, woe is me. And so yeah, like you said, at the end of the day, there's only certain, like some people you can't help because they're not really in the place or mentality where they're willing to be helped, because they're kind of caught up in their own bubble of fears and anxieties.
Exactly. It's like it's very clear from the beginning. He's like, they are doing something wrong, they are hurting each other, when the roughhousers are very loving. Like that's how they express their love. They're loving. So it's like, it's the same thing of like love languages. I find it very strange when people don't understand that concept of like the person you're with has a love language and you have a different love language, and like sometimes people have the same love language, great, but when you don't, you should try to understand how that person loves you and how you can love that person. It's like,
yeah, because like ultimately like love languages are a result of like how we respond to life in general. Like I feel strongly about these things, I don't feel as strongly about those things, and like so on and so forth. Like this stimuli, this situation brings out this in me, whereas in another situation with other stimuli, that brings out that in you. It's like, again, talking about like differences between you and I. It's like you feel much more strongly than I do, especially about a variety of other things, whereas I don't feel as strongly on the passionate side, but there are also things that I do feel strongly about as well, especially in other situations. So it's like people are complex, and I feel like with love languages and anything else, it's just being willing to acknowledge that people are complex and life is a complex thing that brings out that complexity. Like we're responding, our complexities are responses to these complex situations in different ways.
Exactly. Like I think you need to, as a person, you really need to always see the other side and truly have a connection with someone before you make assumptions. Like don't be like the mountain.
Yeah, you gotta be willing to give people the benefit of the doubt, and it's easier to give people the benefit of the doubt when you have a connection with them. Again, talking about what we just finished talking about with Jake and Finn with the whole jealousy thing, where it's like Finn and Jake already had this long-standing relationship of love and trust as brothers. So like, yeah, Jake messed up and they acknowledged that, but Finn wasn't like offended or harmed by it because he's like, oh, I already gave Jake the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, he messed up, he acknowledged it, cool, we can move on.
Exactly.
Adventure time.
What's this one about?
Full circle.
Full circle.
Along with me.
Okay.
So technically, does he still have all those powers, or are those gone now?
That I've always thought about that. So I'm like,
I imagine they never come up again, do they?
yeah, I don't. What my theory is that the powers only work in that near that temple.
Mm-hmm.
Probably,
that.
I don't know. Okay, I think this one gives us a very clear, and it's very like clear at the end. But it's like the old are wise, but the young can think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that older generations are set in their ways that can be wrong because we have new information, essentially, as we evolved as a society. So it's like, I think that it's very important to always have a fresh perspective from someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could always be doing something wrong, and one like deciding that your wisdom and your experience trumps whatever new idea someone has is silly. It's really silly because you never know who can surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
Although there should be, I do believe in respecting elders and respecting the wisdom that has come before us. I think that's important too. But I think that the people who have the wisdom, the people who have the older years in their lives, that they should understand that the younger generation has new, fresh ideas that will bring something new, that will bring something different, that could fix a problem that has been perpetuated over and over and over, and benefiting other people, not your own life, basically. There is a scary part of it, of the frog going well, now I lost my job, I guess, because we fixed the issue. I'm like, well, no, not necessarily. It's yeah, now you can do something with those things that you learned to do. You can do something new, something better. So it's it's very clear. The message was really clear here. And I think it's even as we get older, we need to realize that, hey, we can't think that the younger generation is just idiots and stupid and dumb. We have to not judge the younger generation based on our biases. We have to go person to person that we meet. That's how we judge. Person to person, children to children that we meet, that are gonna grow up into becoming the adults that are under us as we grow older. So it's they are going to bring new ideas that are going to probably solve more problems that we had in the past. And they're probably going to cause their own conflict and their own problems, but someone else is going to come fix that too. It's
it's a balance. We need the youth to come in with their new energy and their new creative ideas to blaze new trails, but at the same time, we need the guidance of the older generation to raise up that younger generation and mentor them and sharpen and foster them in ways that they're actually able to use that youthful energy in ways that are productive as opposed to harmful, and ways that are not reckless. Where it's Finn's youthfulness helped to save the day, but at the same time, it also got him in trouble to begin with because he was not taking his responsibilities seriously, just kind of blazing through it, just acting very impulsively, not thinking through things, and then eventually he faced the consequences of his actions. And I think that's the benefit of being older and wiser, is because you already went through all that, you already faced the consequences of your actions, and so you've experienced enough life to know, okay, if you do X, you're going to get Y. If you do A, you're going to get B. So it's you need to think things through. and the younger generation is not going to be able to do that as well because they just haven't faced those consequences yet. So as the older people, as people who face those consequences, you got to be able to give them that input. You got to be able to mentor them. You got to be able to tell them, hey, if you do this, this will probably happen. Or if you do this, you got to consider these things as well. So like, it's great that you're doing these things and you want to do this, but you just got to keep in mind that I've been around the block. I've experienced a lot of things. And so I know that generally speaking, these things tend to happen if you do those other things. So please keep this in mind, kids, as you try to do this stuff.
Yeah. And I feel like one of the things that you need, that's true, but you can't go like,
you can't shut them down.
Exactly. Like if somebody goes like, if like a person like has, like essentially like, oh, that bridge has been like that for years. Like just don't go through it or you'll fall because it's falling apart. Right? It's like, don't go through that bridge. Like I went through that bridge and I fell into the river. Don't do the same mistake I did. Don't go to that bridge. I'm like, why don't we fix the bridge? Well, because like it's dangerous. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could do it. It's like I could fix that bridge. It's like, and it's like allowing that is going like, okay, well, if you want to try, go fix the bridge. Like, and I'll do it what I can to help, because that's what the old people did at the end. It's like they were like, well, they were going like, do the wrong thing of like, well, I'll just watch you fail because you clearly know better than me, and you'll see that you'll fall into the river like just the way I did, right? It's like, but instead going like, yeah, I fell into the river. There is a problem with that bridge, but this new person is bringing on the idea of fixing the bridge. Let's see if we fix the bridge, maybe people will stop falling into the river, right? So it's like, so it's that.
And maybe fixing the bridge is harder than the kid thought. But again, like if he works alongside with him to make it work, it'll be better for everyone in the long run, as opposed to just kind of letting him do it himself.
Exactly. It's like the kid doesn't have the experience to fix the problem completely, the younger generation, but they do have fresh ideas that could be deployed to fix those issues. So it's like you have to be open with that wisdom that you've built. You have to be open to a new idea. You have to be like, I may have found a way to deal with the problem, but maybe this person has a way to fix the problem.
Yeah, it's like why you see the trope in like say a lot of like fantasy stories, like stories in general, where there's like a team of people. There's like that trope of like the one older person in the team, the one old guy in the team, who's like the advisor to a leader, but obviously it's not the leader himself because the leader's younger, got more energy, and has probably got like some sort of nerve in order to fix the problem, because while the old guy is smart and wise, is worth listening to, may not have the quite gumption needed in order to actually solve the problem. So that's why he's not the leader, he's just the advisor to the leader, because the advisor role is so important for the leader, because the leader is still going to need like all the wise input he needs in order to consider all the consequences of his actions, but the leader still needs that like young, youthful energy or that creativity to actually go out and solve the problem, because the problem with being the old one is that you're very tempted to stick to your guns and be set in your ways because you're so used to how things were, and you just don't quite have the energy or the drive or the passion to quite change things as you used to in your youth.
Yeah, the literal brain power, because like our brains begin to get less flexible, and they can't process as much information, and we are essentially set in our ways. But that's why I'm always want to remain open-minded, because I know that as I get older, I will lose my capacity to completely empathize with what's new, and I'll lose interest in those things. And it's happening to me in ways that I never thought, where it's happening to me with cartoons. Like there are some cartoons that I'm looking at, I'm like I know that in some ways the quality of writing cartoons have changed a lot, but then there are some good ones that children seem to be very much into, and they make their own lore and they make their own stuff about it. And I'm like, I don't understand this new thing. Like, I don't get it. But it's like same thing with Roblox. Like, I've never understood Roblox. It's something that like I understand Minecraft, but like Roblox to me, it's so crazy that so many people are into it, and now like there are people like they're like 18, 18 to 20 that like speak to me about Roblox, and they're like, oh wow, we're there, we got there, we like the kids who were playing Roblox are adults now. Oh, yeah, that's fascinating and strange that because it's like I don't get it, but they seem to get it, and they build community in it, and they've made cool things with it. Like I'm like, it's fascinating to grow old, and it's like to me because it's like I'm finally understanding, right? Of like, oh, like I am getting why to feel resentment about these things. But I don't want to. Like I'm choosing not to. Like I'm like, no, they can enjoy those things because the same way I don't want to be that same like old person who shut me down when I was younger because they didn't understand the thing I was into. So it's like I don't want to be that, right? It's like so I'm trying not to. Like I'm trying to stay open-minded, not to enjoying whatever the youth is enjoying, but I'm like, as much as possible, I want to understand why.
Because
why are they?
Understanding makes it easier to remember that resentment is a choice. And if you don't acknowledge that resentment is a choice, you kind of are just kind of a slave to it, to the point where you think it's everyone else's fault and not yours, and to the point where you're losing sight of your own agency and your own ability, and before you know it, you're just kind of as stiff as a mountain. Because again, the mountain had every choice, but he just chose to resent, and by choosing to resent, he kind of gave up his own agency, his own ability to change and cause change as a process, and just thought, oh, well, it's everyone else's fault, not my own. Like, everyone else is actually doing things in life and changing things in life and causing these problems onto me, and I'm completely fine. I'm not doing anything, but I can't do anything either. I'm just stuck here crying at all these people who are doing all these horrible things to me, and like that's what resentment does. It really makes me think of like new Sonic fans that I work at a dentist at a pediatric dental place. New Sonic fans, these children, they're fans of Sonic because of the movies, and there is this as a Sonic fan from the old days. From the old days, the 2000s, it builds this resentment kind of creeps in of like, you don't know the character, you don't know who the character is, you just know this version of this character, and you haven't experienced what this actually is. You don't understand how incredible this thing is. You're just like, it's a fraction of that. I'm like, why is that my first like thought? Why is that? Like, I'm like, no, hey, we like the same character. It's Sonic. Like, I should be okay with the fact that the character I like is being presented to a new generation and they like it as much as I like it. Maybe not the same version, maybe not the same character, but it's still Sonic, and we can still have fun, and we can still connect because it's Sonic. Yep, I had the same internal conversation myself, being a One Piece fan and responding to, like, say, the live action One Piece, where it's like, it's not my One Piece, it's not the one that I grew up with, and there's that resentment is there, that tempting resentment is there, but at the same time, people are becoming fans of the franchise specifically because of that live action adaptations. It's like, oh, well, if they're fans of the franchise, at the end of the day, do I really have a reason to complain? I should be happy that the franchise is getting more love, even if they're loving it for reasons different from my own, and they're still loving it.
Exactly. Like, and it goes back, like, to even what we were talking about at the new Lanterns show that's coming out.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you heard me talking about passionately about the fact that I'm building this resentment of like the new people that are going to come in and watch the show, and they're going to see something that's not Green Lantern, and they're going to enjoy it, but it's not Green Lantern to me, right? But they are going to watch it, and they're going to be like, this is what Green Lantern is to me, and this is my experience with Green Lantern, and I like Green Lantern, and maybe that's going to make them like join in and actually enjoy the DC universe. Who knows? Like maybe that's their gateway to it, right?
Yep.
We're still gonna get people to connect to our community, even if they're gonna have a different flavor of that, of it. It's still gonna be people that joined in, and like it's still gonna be people that that we can have discussions with about those things.
Yeah, I think another key to like fighting back against the resentment is just acknowledging that life is always going to change. Things will always be changed. There will always be old, and there will always be new, and that's always going to be flexible and change and move on as time progresses. And I think if you are so set in your ways that you hate the idea of change coming in, you're going to become resentful. Again, just like that mountain, literally set in his ways as a big stone slab, just sitting there and not being flexible. Whereas if you acknowledge the fact that life will change, things will change, old will come, will become old, and there'll be a new thing to replace that. It brings a sort of flexibility to your mind. And like you see this all the time when it comes to pop culture and media, where something that's old, new becomes old and become dated. And so like the popular thing right now is going to be old and dated later, and that's fine. Whereas some new thing will come along that will catch everyone's attention, and you may not be able to get it, but that's fine as well, because it was the same thing for you back when you were younger, enjoying this popular thing, and the older people weren't getting it. Like it's just the circle of life. It's literally just happens over and over and over again, and it's going to keep on happening. Like some movie that came out that may not have been popular to older fans when it came out, those younger fans, that's going to be their first introduction to it. And so when they grow up, they're going to talk about how much they loved it because that's what they first introduced it to. Like people talk about how the newest Star Wars trilogy is not great compared to the old ones, and I agree with them. But at the same time, I would not be surprised if there are some young kids that grew up and this newest trilogy was their first experience into the franchise, and then they're going to grow up being like, oh, well, actually, I see appeal to this newest trilogy. Like, I grew up with this.
That's what happened with episode 1 through 3.
Yeah, that's literally what happened, and it's going to keep on happening, and will never stop happening. That's just life.
It literally what happened. It's like the older generation was like, episode 1 through 3 sucks. And then, like, the newer generation that watched those movies were like, no, I like them, I enjoy them, and then that became the more popular opinion over the years. And then when those other 3 movies came out, people were dunking on it. But I am pretty sure that in a couple of years we're gonna get children who grew up with that and going like, no, I enjoy those. They were really good.
The sun rises, the sun sets, kingdoms rise, kingdom fall, opinions change.
It really made me think of like, and more now, I think we were experiencing it very fast because of the internet and because of reboot culture. Yeah. We are experiencing that very much earlier than we would have in like a regular pace of humanity.
Yes.
Where things are becoming older quicker than they did before. So it's like we're experiencing these things way faster. So I think it's like I'm kind of glad it's happening because I can essentially like mature for it and go like it's happening faster, so I have to adapt and go like okay. So keeping my mind flexible as much as possible is that of like being able to keep up with what's new, and still enjoying the stuff that I love, but also keeping up with that with the younger with what's coming out. And it's like that's why I don't know. That's why I believe in keeping up with things. Like I know that I don't keep up with news, but I do keep up with media because I think it's as important, in my opinion, because that's how the generation is kind of interacting with each other right now. It's media, and like it really reminds me of a Teen Titans Go situation of like Teen Titans. I love Teen Titans, the original. Like that's one of my favorite shows. And I was sad when it was over. I was sad when they announced that there was going to be a reboot and it was not going to be what we watched. But like as I watched Teen Titans Go, I understood. I hated it. I was like, this sucks. I am mad because this is not the thing that I loved. And I don't know. As I kept watching, I was like, but this is funny. Like, the writing in this is funny. There's this meta humor that's around. They hate themselves. They know that they're a bad show. Like, and at some point, it became something where I was like, you know what? I can see why kids are enjoying this. I can see why people are enjoying this. This is funny. Like, and there's a lot of kids and teenagers and young adults now that grew up with Teen Titans Go and they enjoy it. They like it, and I understand why. Like, I stopped watching it because at some point I was like, it's like after the movie, that was it for me. I was like, the movie was peak. I was like, that's the funniest DC movie I've ever seen in my life. And from there, I was like, they can't do anything else to top that. So I'm out. Like I couldn't, like, the only thing I think I watched after that was the crossover between the Teen Titans and the Teen Titans Go, and then I was out. But yeah, it really is that. It's about that. It's like, I think this episode pretty much is about realizing that the younger generation's coming your way and you need to be open-minded to change. It's just change.
Yep.
Well, I think if there's anything else, Nathan, I think with that we can finish today.
Sounds good.
But yeah, see you guys on the next one.
Wahoo!